Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here today with us for our inaugural webinar, which we hope will turn into a webinar series for our Brighthour Foundation. We're going to share more about what the foundation is and what our purpose is. And for those of you that are here with us today, thank you for your commitment. We all know that is a common passion that drives all of us to be together. And it's all of you that have brought us to where we are. We'll start by kicking it off with our webinar, which focuses on really learning and knowledge sharing. Then at the end, we'll do a launch of our inaugural scholarship program as well. I want to thank one of our board members and an amazing friend and partner, Drew, for holding today's session. Drew is a local Atlanta individual. I was about to say boy, but individual friend. And Drew, growing up with his father as a practicing physician in the metro Atlanta area, healthcare has always been a central part of Drew's life. His background instilled in him a deep understanding and passion for healthcare's mission and the critical care of technology plays in improving patient care and operational efficiency. Drew is very passionate about all of this. If you ever get to know him, you will see that come out very quickly. Drew is an experienced healthcare IT staffing leader with a strong track record of supporting health industries across the country. His career has been dedicated to healthcare and technology, and he's partnered with some of the largest hospitals and healthcare organizations, helping them build high performing teams and implement transformative technology solutions. His expertise spans Epic and EHR staffing, digital health initiatives, revenue cycle optimization, and specialized clinical IT roles. Healthcare has always been a central part of his life, growing up with his father as a practicing physician in the metro area, as I mentioned, and his background instilled him in a deep understanding and appreciation for the mission and the critical role that healthcare plays. He is very passionate about driving better healthcare outcomes through innovative staffing and strategies and collaborative partnerships. And really, it's part of who he is to really focus on mentoring and just he thrives in helping healthcare organizations achieve their goals by delivering the right talent in the right time, ensuring smoother implementations, optimizing workflows, and ultimately, again, why we're all in this industry to improve patient care experiences and outcomes. So I'm very proud to hand it over and ask Drew to take over while he launches our inaugural webinar where we're focusing on um, launching, accelerating your career in healthcare IT. And I'll give it to Drew, and we do have a special guest as well. Drew, thank you again for your commitment and support, my friend.
Thank you for the introduction, Seppi, and thank you everyone for joining. Really appreciate you taking the time here. This is really the first step into helping launch and accelerate your IT career is getting involved in things like this. So I really appreciate everyone taking the time. So without any further ado, we'll dive right in. If this wants to work, there we go. So a lot of people ask, why do you want to healthcare IT outside of just general IT work? And I have a few comments about that personally. Really, it's growing. It's growing rapidly right now. It really lagged behind general technology because healthcare is such a large beast. It takes a long time for it to catch up with the rest of what the rest of the world's really doing. So, you really haven't missed the ideal time to come into healthcare IT. This is a very exciting time. There are massive digital transformations happening in a lot of health systems. A lot of them have outdated systems that need to be upgraded or be implemented with some of the newest and latest, greatest technology. So it's a really exciting time to get involved in the healthcare IT environment. The other part is that I personally love about this outside of general IT is that you have direct impact on improving patient care. Ultimately what we're doing here has a bigger impact than just shareholder value. What we're doing here is going to help somebody at the end of the day receive the care that can help save a life. And I think that is really critical to understand and really take to heart if this is the type of career path you want to go down, because there really is rewarding outcomes that come from all the hard efforts that you put in. The other great thing about it is there's so many different avenues that you can go into in the healthcare IT. Most people just think, okay, I get to go in there and do EMR or EHR type work where I'm just working on Epic or Cerner or these other electronic medical record platforms, but that's not the case. It's such a vast atmosphere. There's so many places where you can find a home, whether you want to be focused on user interface and how these doctors and patients are going to be interacting with your systems, whether you want to work on the back end, you want to work on data insights and analytics, whether you want to work on project management, product ownership, it doesn't matter. The opportunities are limitless within healthcare IT. So it's a really great way. If you get in there, there's plenty of areas to be able to pivot and really find the sweet spot that works best for you. And finally, it is pretty stable. I mean, especially if you're going into full-time work and not consulting work, you see 10 years lasting in health systems longer than in almost any industry. So if you're really looking for a place to call home, really grow, build a foundation and find something that you can say, hey, look, from start to finish, I did this, I helped grow this. This is such an incredible environment to be in. A lot of places, especially in general tech, as you're coming in there for project-based work, you're in and out. It's very rarely do you get to see the full life cycle of something from start to finish. So I think it's an incredible industry to be in. I think all of you are making some great decisions looking into this industry. I touched on this a little bit earlier, but there's some key technical skills that we see depending on the career path that you want to go into. Epic right now is the big monster in the industry. It controls the majority of the marketplace as far as electronic medical records go and record keeping. It's been around for almost 40 years now. Started small, but it has grown into the industry standard. Now, a lot of other competitors have started to see what Epic's doing, and it's starting to expand. Cerner used to be a big competitor against them. They fell to the wayside, but Oracle, who is a massive general technology company, decided to enter the marketplace and acquire Cerner, and have now releasing one of their new EMRs to be coming out to compete against Epic. So once again, it's a not a lot of competition in that space, but it's growing. So once again, you don't have to silo yourself into just one piece, because once again, if you know one system, it's pretty easy to transition and learn other systems as well. They all tend to operate in a similar fashion, but have different interfaces to help you get through workflows. But there's other places to look too. If you want to be outside of EMR and EHR applications, CompTIA is a great place to start. That's a great place to start for security backgrounds or entry-level help desk roles, which is a great way to start learning the ecosystem that is healthcare IT. PMP and Agile certifications will help you more if you're interested into product and project management type roles. This is going to help you grow through there, helping push projects across the line, not necessarily being a hands-on technical stakeholder. And the RHIA or RHIT, these are great for just healthcare informatic roles, entry-level coding and data entry roles. So great place to get your foot in the door and started. So this is a big question we get a lot. How do you get started in healthcare IT? What are the entry-level roles? Who do I talk to? How do we get in here? And I want to give you a few minutes to answer some of those questions, but a bunch of the areas that we see people getting their foot in the door is going to be as credentialed trainers. So that'll be going in there. You'll see a lot of people coming from clinical backgrounds that will move into these roles that used to be big super users of these platforms of Epic, Cerner, things of that nature, but they realize, you know what, I'm kind of over the whole clinical side, dealing with patients day in, day out. That's more of a challenge than I care to. What they really find is they like teaching other people within that health system how to use these systems efficiently. And that's where these credentialed trainers will come in. And there's a career path to be able to grow through there too, into learning and development within health systems. So you can grow from a credentialed trainer into a principal trainer, into learning and development managers and directors, and helping create the curriculum for internal health systems about how to train users on your systems. Help desk and IT support is also a very common place to start. These are usually easier jobs to get coming in the door. You're not doing anything glamorous, but you are there helping physicians and providers in moments of need, which is also really exciting. I'm sure Brandy will have some moments where she can talk about, you'll get calls, There might be a call coming in at midnight with a surgeon, somebody opened up on an operating table and they can't access their medical records. And what do you do then? Guess what? That's where healthcare IT comes in. You can have someone here that can come reset passwords, make sure they can get into the correct patient files and get the information they're needing in a critical moment where seconds truly matter. Data entry and clinical systems analysts, those are also easy ways to come in there. Data entry is very entry level, very manual, but it's a good place to get your foot in the door and to continue to grow. And clinical systems analysts, those are going to be a little bit harder on entry level. You're going to likely need some certifications and experience to get your foot in the door on those, unless you're already working for that health system. But a great way to network and get involved, do what you're doing right now. Join these webinars, join some of these professional organizations. We've had great success and great networking with HIMSS. Here locally, Georgia HIMSS is a great one, but it's a national society. Highly recommend looking into it. They have discounts for students. It's a great way to go get yourself in front of future hiring managers and making yourself be known. Other ways, though, is look to volunteer or intern at the hospitals. Getting face time in front of potential hiring managers or people that are going to refer you into these roles are going to be critical for starting and accelerating your career. I cannot stress that enough. It's something that a lot of IT professionals tend to not focus on, is some of the soft skills and the networking. A lot of us just like to sit behind a computer and bang on a keyboard. But if you really want to grow your career, getting out there in front of your peers and colleagues is going to be absolutely critical to that growth. So in that same vein, working on accelerating it, finding a mentor is one thing that I advise everybody to do in a professional career. Whether it's in your industry or not, if it is in your industry, that's going to help you so much more. But the connections, the insights, and the experience and wisdom that they can offer is incredibly invaluable. And I know Seppi will touch on this a little bit later, but Brighthour Foundation can help facilitate some of those mentorships as well. So we highly encourage anybody who's applying to definitely look into the other avenues where Brighthour can help you out outside of just the foundation. Another critical piece is staying up to date on these tech trends in healthcare. Listen to what's happening. It helps create these conversations and the dialogues with the right people that you're going to want to talk to. It shows them that you have the interest in this field and it's not just a job, but it's actually a passion, something that's really going to help you get you out of bed in the morning, because work is going to get tiring. Let's face it, everyone's going to feel it. But if it's something you're really interested in and something that excites you at the end of the day, it's going to make it so much easier every day for you. Once again, building a LinkedIn presence is also critical. Speaking of somebody that works in staffing and helps other individuals find jobs, LinkedIn is a critical tool. You can use it to show off your accomplishments, both personal and professional. You want to be able to show off your educational background, your volunteer experience, anything that's relevant to you being able to get a job. I highly recommend being able to push that out on LinkedIn and other social media platforms, because that visibility is going to be critical, especially in a more and more connected world. When you're on platforms like LinkedIn, you're seeing, as you grow as a professional, you'll start to see all these different people sharing about open opportunities, projects they're working on, and it's a great way to stay in touch as well as find new job opportunities. We already spoke about attending the webinars, as you guys are already doing, so kudos to you guys. But another great thing to look into is look at some of these conferences that are going on that are hosted by some of these societies like HIMSS or ASCHE of Georgia or TAG Digital Health. There's so many societies outside of just here in Georgia that will offer opportunities to go meet people from health systems from around the country. So if you're not looking to just stay local to the Atlanta area, this is a great way to branch out. And finally, a shameless plug, working with specialized partners like HC Tech or other staffing agencies. The benefit of working with agencies is we work directly with these hiring managers day in, day out. You're not going through HR or onboarding where people are, this is just a small function of their job. You're working with somebody who specializes in this field, in this industry, and has personal relationships with hiring managers across the United States. They'll have insights about upcoming projects and initiatives. They'll be able to help you with your resume, help you with interview prep. There's so much value to be added being able to partner with a good recruiter or a good agency to help you find your next position or grow your career. We've touched on this a little bit, but we see some common career paths as getting in. We talked about data entry, credential trainers, and help desk, but those can all grow. You'll have your data entry or your clinical analysts move into application analysts. That's where you might be doing work on implementing or upgrading or help implementing new projects and initiatives within different systems within the health systems. You can move into, from the project management side, you can move into project coordinators, project management, product owners, and then basically you can get to a spot where you can own entire platforms. I work with managers day in, day out that are responsible for multi-million-dollar budgets, entire platforms, and it gets to a very high level very quickly, which moves into those senior roles where you'll either be leading the teams, helping come up with these initiatives, executing the designs, and then eventually moving up into executive leadership where you can move into strategic thinking and thought and helping design the future of where health systems are moving. So on top of just the technical skills, there are a few other things that can really help make you stand out amongst hiring managers. We talked about keeping up on tech trends. That's going to help show this initiative and your eagerness to learn. That's something that hiring managers are always looking for in these soft skills. They're looking for someone that has the passion that we touched on earlier. And even real world exposure to healthcare. So you saw in my bio earlier how I mentioned I grew up with a father as a physician. You want to be able to help create a story around why you're going into what you're doing. It's going to help sell you more than just the average candidate who's looking to just, I need a job because I need to pay the bills. That's not going to help you out very much. You really want to curate your background as much as possible to speak to these hiring managers about this person has a passion and a drive, and they're going to continue to add value to this organization as we continue to grow. Being able to communicate in between your teams too is critical. We see a big lapse in this in some just general IT people that transition into healthcare IT. I see a lot of managers that really like people that come from a clinical background that are moving into IT that understand the clinician side, the clinician's thinking, because they're going to look at things as the user a completely different way than you as a technical person might. And being able to communicate and understanding how to communicate needs from a non-technical person to a technical person is a really great sign that you understand your technical knowledge. I always ask people whenever I don't understand anything from a technical perspective, if I'm looking to see if they have a great understanding, I ask them to explain this highly technical thing as if I was a third grader and they're presenting to me in a third grade career class. If you can really simplify some highly technical terms, it is an invaluable skill that will help you grow very quickly. And with healthcare and this incredible this new ever-changing digital environment that we're in, flexibility with shifts and schedules and traveling is going to help you stick out as well. If you're working full-time for a health system, traveling is not going to be as much of an issue because you're likely going to be near the health system where they're going to ask you to come on site. But we are seeing remote roles rapidly evaporate in healthcare IT. Most places are moving to at least a hybrid schedule, if not full-time on site. So being able to have that flexibility to travel, if you want to go into consulting, it's going to be critical if you want to maintain remote roles, but there will still be on-site requirements, or the ability to work off-hour shifts. Seppi talked about this earlier with her son, who's working with the health system, who's working third shift right now. Because healthcare doesn't sleep, unfortunately, neither do people that work with healthcare. So that is something you want to keep in mind as you consider healthcare IT as a career, because it's very hard to maintain a traditional 9-to-5 role. My final tips for you guys as we wrap up this webinar piece is don't wait for the perfect job. Getting your foot in the door is really the most important thing. There's a lot of room to move horizontally and vertically within healthcare IT. Getting your foot in the door of the health system is usually the first and most challenging step. Once you can get in there, find out more about the environment that is the health system that you join, learn the leaders, get networked and connected, and let them know where you want to grow. And most of the time, you will be able to find yourself into that seat. Learning the language of healthcare IT is also critical. If you didn't understand what we were talking about when we say EMR, EHR, Cerner, Meditech, Epic, HL7, HIPAA violations. These are things that you need to know if you're wanting to go into healthcare IT. It's going to be part of your vocabulary in and out every day, and any conversation that you're going to be having with someone in this industry is likely going to be surrounding some of these terminologies. So understanding what you're talking about is absolutely critical. And then finally, this goes back to staying up with your tech trends. Be curious, be coachable, and be consistent. It is the 3 C's. I love to stay with that because when you're curious, the learning never stops. And when the learning never stops, you will always continually bring value to an organization. And when you're coachable and know that I don't always have the right way, someone else always has value they can bring to a conversation, that will help you out immensely creating professional relationships. And finally, be consistent. Follow through on what you say you're going to do. Too many people offer lip service, not just this industry, but across all industries. Be consistent in what you offer, be consistent in what you do, and be consistent in the product that you offer. And the sky's the limit. Healthcare IT is only a growing field, and now is an incredible time to get in. So if there's any way that I can help anybody else out in here, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Feel free to shoot me an email. I'm here to help out and facilitate anywhere I can. Really just passionate about helping this industry grow. So with that, I'll wrap this up and I'll give just a few minutes for questions for anybody that has around this segment, and then we'll move into the interview of Brandy Brock. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, Lice?
I have a question. I guess we can start with that. So in my situation, well, first off, thank you for this. It was very informative, very valuable. Really appreciate your tips and advices. I didn't get a chance to introduce myself earlier, but I recently graduated with a health informatics degree from Georgia State. And now I'm literally navigating the path of entering the healthcare informatics field. So my question is related. It's related to the certifications. You mentioned Epic, CompTIA, which I honestly didn't hear about until just today. Product management, RHA, sorry, RHIT, and those type of certifications. So when it comes to, for example, someone in my situation who's not working full time yet, looking for a job, just got off of school. So to be honest, I don't have the most amount of money to spend on those certifications. What do you recommend, or how can I start? I just don't want to lose that momentum, if that makes sense, of learning and investing my time and acquire more skills. So what's your advice for that, or for someone in my situation?
Absolutely. Some of these certifications can be pretty cheap and easy to get. Like the CompTIA, that one's not going to be too difficult and not too expensive, but it will show that you're doing continuing education, that you're trying to grow within that field. Same with the RHIT certification. Those are fairly accessible, but when you're getting into higher level certifications, a PMP certification or EPIC certifications, those can get a little bit more expensive. Once you get your foot in the door with organizations, depending on what tech stack or what systems they're using, a lot of them will also offer opportunities for continuing education to pursue those certifications. And I cannot recommend that high enough. If your company is willing to pay for you to go get continuing education, willing to get you certified, take every opportunity that you can, because that's not money out of your pocket, but it will continue to only add value to your career growth opportunities. So with that, I'd also say, outside of just those certifications, as you're navigating, trying to find your first role, getting involved in these societies is one of the best things I can recommend. If you see things about Georgia Hymns, they have events that are coming up here soon. If you can join just as a student or formerly graduating student, they offer big discounts, but there's going to be a lot of potential hiring managers. There's going to be a lot of people that are in the industry that can also help you out, and potential mentors that you can meet. So it's a great place to start and get your foot in the door, and also look into volunteer internships at any of these health systems that you might be interested in. Go call into their HR departments and ask if they have any internships, any entry-level positions or volunteer opportunities to get around the decision makers.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's a great point. I have been involved in volunteering with HENS for over a year now, which I started through Georgia State. But as you mentioned, there are so many other great entities out there. In mentorship, there are a lot of people out there here to help. So thank you.
Yes, and I'd also say lean on your professors too. I know Steppy helps out with Morehouse. Um, we have I think it's Hussein here from KSU. All of these people are going to have connections within the industry as well. They're going to have people that work at these health systems, people that are going to, you cannot put a price tag on personal connections and referrals. They're one of the strongest things you can have in the industry. So leveraging those resources in any way you can is going to be hugely beneficial.
And however everyone feels right now, no matter what part of the journey they are on, it never changes. I think the learning part, whether it's an actual degree or a certification or experience, which is like the three legs that keeps us balanced, I think that kind of continues no matter what part of the journey you're on, whether you're later in your career or in the early part. So embrace how you feel and trying to do right now in that balance, because I think that feeling and need will always be there for evolving on those throughout your life. So it doesn't change. I think your focus might be different at sometimes. So, you might have a job, but you're trying to progress or you're trying to learn something new, or, you are looking for a career step at that point. But that feeling, I think, is something we have to embrace, because I think I was just talking to Drew earlier. It it's always going to be a point of focus, I think, in your life. And I see Hossein shaking his head, yes. And I bet he has a lot of conversations with his students as well.
And Sebi, can I add something to that?
Of course.
Great. So one thing I will say, having been a college student a few times, I know the money can be tight, but one thing that is always free is research and knowledge. So along my career, along the way, I found things that I'm very passionate about and have just gone out of my way to learn as much as I can about specific subjects to be a subject matter expert. And in a lot of cases, I've been able to add value where I didn't necessarily have experience or certifications or the same things that other applicants did. But because I had expertise and I was able to provide solutions and outside the box thinking for specific problems that an organization had, organizations were willing to take a chance on me. So maybe I didn't have the certifications and the experience, but just because I had the knowledge and I was ready to jump right in and get to work, that alone has really helped me as my career has progressed pretty quickly. So don't hesitate to just get in, research, learn as much as you can, immerse yourself, because lucky for us, we have the internet and everything at our fingertips. So, so leverage that even when you're not able to afford the things that others might be able to.
Well said.
Yeah.
Linda, you have a question.
Not a question, but just to provide an additional insight. My very first healthcare IT role, I landed by attending a career fair. So it always seems like, I had that mentality before that this is not going to nothing's going to come out of this. Like, I'll print out 10 copies of my resume, hand them out, and they'll end up in someone's shredder or something. But I got a call that same day and landed my first role as a help desk support person for a health system. So don't, in-person networking, meeting face-to-face with recruiters and key decision makers is very helpful.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Linda. Are there any other questions? All right, then. Well, I guess we will move on to the next part. And I guess I didn't have, oops, excuse me. This left out the piece. Sorry, Brandy, I had a slide on here for you, but I don't know where it went.
That's okay.
Let me get this back in presentation mode. All right, so I'll go ahead and introduce Brandy here. Brandy, I had the pleasure of working with Brandy at HC Tech, but Brandy is a seasoned healthcare IT professional. She has over 15 years of experience in healthcare. She specializes in EMR, or electronic medical record, implementation, optimization, and quality reporting across Epic and Cerner platforms. She currently serves as the manager of application management here at HC Tech, and she oversees strategic initiatives, system enhancements, and cross-functional collaboration to drive application efficiency and alignment with organizational goals. Previously a client executive and system architect, Brandy led enterprise-level ambulatory projects offering best practice guidance to improve patient outcomes and user experience. She holds multiple Epic certifications and brings a strong background in regulatory compliance, workflow analysis, and project management across diverse healthcare environments. So thank you so much, Brandy, for taking the time to speak with us today. And I got a few questions I'd like to just chat with you about, but I'd like to give you just a moment as well to be able to introduce yourself. So please go ahead, and if you have a few words, please go ahead.
Sure. First, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and help answer questions that you might have today. Drew, my bio, my professional bio is a bit of a mouthful. So just to break it down a bit, I began my career in the clinical space, providing direct patient care. I initially thought that I wanted to be a nurse. While working in the healthcare field, I quickly noticed two things. One, nurses were incredibly burnt out, and most were pretty angry day to day when I went to work. And honestly, there were just a lot of gaps in patient knowledge, and specifically where my passion lies is really in health literacy. So a lot of my patients that I saw regularly just kept coming back because they didn't quite understand what was making them sick. So that really sparked a pivot for me towards public health, where I discovered a passion for educating both patients and honestly providers. So anything that I could do to improve health outcomes was where my career would lead me. So I did get into health coaching and public health program development. Did a lot of diabetes education, a lot of community outreach programs. And, after a while, I had an opportunity to become an Epic credentialed trainer. And it was propositioned to me that I would be able to help people learn to utilize the EMR, and I'd be able to help clinicians communicate more effectively with their patients. So I was all in. From there, I really immersed myself in clinical workflows. I transitioned into the Cerner space, where I very quickly found a love for regulatory and compliance programs. Meaningful use was at its peak during that time. So I was the director of meaningful use programming for a large hospital system here in Indiana. And really, it just made a perfect fit for my love for data, but then, just really using that data to improve patient outcomes, was a huge thing for me. It was at that point really that I became an Epic analyst, because while I loved the data and I loved, seeing how to manipulate the data, I found that if the system was broken and my reports weren't quite right, I couldn't fix it. So I had to rely on others to fix it. And becoming an analyst really just helped close that loop. So moving into today, I now do hold 6 Epic certifications in ambulatory, the Healthy Planet module, MyChart, something you're probably familiar with. And that has led me slowly into leadership. So as Drew mentioned, today I do lead 12 different application teams. I have over 120 teammates that I work alongside every day, providing direct EMR support to our clients across the country. It's been really exciting as I've moved through, help empower people with tools knowledge and the systems that they really need to thrive and to improve those patient outcomes. So long
Perfect.
career, but I've loved it. So thanks, Drew.
Thank you, Brandy. Well, we'll touch in a little bit more on this. So you already touched on this a little bit, but walk us through your journey into healthcare IT. You know, what really drew you into the field? I know you said you wanted to get into being a nurse first, but where did
Mhm.
that all start for you?
Honestly, I in my mid-20s, I just kind of was looking at career options and I wanted something that I, knew I would love, but where I had longevity and the ability to grow. And nursing really fit that because of course we still have a nursing shortage to this day. I enjoy taking care of people and the patient care was something that I really enjoyed every day. Um, for me, it was where's the biggest bang for my buck? So, how can I help people most efficiently? And in my undergrad at Ball State University, we worked very closely with our residency program, our family medicine residency program, and learned that there's a lot of things are learned in medical school, but how to speak with patients at their level isn't necessarily one of those. So we worked very closely with residents, kind of teaching them how to meet people where they are. Because, health is a very complex topic. And if you're throwing bad news at them in jargon that's way above their literacy level, they're far less likely to have successful outcomes. So that's what kind of led me into IT was how can I make that impact? And I like working with providers, even though they can be a little difficult sometimes. Um, and then that's really kind of what led me down the path to begin with.
I love that insight. Dad always has the joke being a physician. It's like, bedside manner is not something they really teach. And you really don't want the super social, super cool doctor. You want the guy that's going to be a little
Yeah,
bit weird, probably most of his time with a nose in a book.
for sure.
So anyways, what advice would you give someone with little or no healthcare IT experience looking to break into the field today?
My biggest piece of advice, I touched on it briefly a little earlier, and this is something that I coach. I coach a lot of sports teams now, and I say the same thing to my kids, but be a gap filler. So for me, I really have made a career of identifying gaps in teams. So if I'm looking always at how can I add to my skills, and once I'm on a team, I'm really kind of looking for where are some gaps. So where is there a need that I can fill? In healthcare IT, it's no exception. So you may see a position to start out at the help desk. And while nobody wants to work at the help desk forever, I mean, some people do, but not many people want to work at the help desk forever. It's a really great opportunity to uh, gather the skills that you need to move to the next step. So maybe starting at the help desk and really every time that I accept a new role or new responsibilities, I'm always looking forward for if I take this, what am I going to learn that I can move for my next position? And I'm kind of always looking at that. Um, Eventually I feel like I may get to a point where I accept that role and it is the be all end all of like this is where I want to finish my career, but being a gap filler for anyone wanting to get into healthcare IT or really anywhere that you want to go in your career, always look for something on the team that is missing, and be that person. It's how I've received some of my certifications. We needed someone to focus on care everywhere to really work on interoperability. So I said, hey, I'd love to get that certification. Here's some of the work I've already done. So I would start taking tickets for a few months beforehand, getting familiar with it and say, hey, I'm already doing it. So can I go ahead and get the certification? And then I can support that for other clients moving forward. So for me, I think the biggest piece of advice would be to be a gap filler.
Fantastic. I love that. Um, and moving into the next topic here, are there any technical or soft skills that have been most valuable to you and your success in healthcare IT?
I think the biggest soft skill probably goes with that gap filler mentality is just being adaptable. So healthcare is constantly changing. Drew, you touched on that in your presentation. What we're doing this year will be different than next year. Of course, on a federal level, each election kind of brings new focuses and new initiatives. So budget money goes different places. So being adaptable and, open in the world of healthcare is always going to be one of the biggest soft skills to have. The other one I think would be the ability to work in high stress situations. So you'll find as you get into any IT field, but especially in healthcare IT, everything's important. And I repeat the mantra to my team a lot. Listen, guys, if everything's important, nothing is important. So we have to be able to work in high stress. And even though everyone is saying that everything is important, we have to be able to prioritize and work on the things that truly have the biggest impact. So being adaptable, ready for the changes that come, and then being prepared to to moderate yourself so that you can work in those high stress and problem focused situations is going to be key.
So we take a little tip from our clinical practitioners and triage things well, correct?
Yeah, we have to.
Fantastic. So I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'd love to get your perspective on this. Are there any certifications or trainings that you recommend for people just getting started or trying to move up in the industry?
That's a great question. So as was pointed out earlier, and I experienced this when I graduated from college as well, certifications are expensive. The tests are expensive. The continuing education hours are expensive. So it is a pretty significant investment. When I first graduated with my undergraduate degree, I got my CHES certification and became a certified health education specialist because that was something that I knew people in my field were looking for when they were hiring candidates. So that would kind of set you apart. A lot of the certifications that you mentioned, as far as like project management, being a PMP, those are going to take some time because you have to have specific, you have to have courses, but then you also have to have a certain number of experience hours, and it's a pretty significant investment. So my really big focus, like I said, is become a subject matter expert. Really find the thing that makes you tick, and help organizations in that way. If you're looking to get into the Epic space or the Cerner space, those certifications a lot of times are will be sponsored by an organization. So if you look for a role as a credentialed trainer, for example, that organization will train you to teach their training classes, and then a lot of times they will hire from within. So if they're looking for additional certified staff, they will send someone who is a credentialed trainer to Epic training to get an Epic certification. Um, if you're working on the help desk and you have an organization that's preparing for a large implementation, a lot of times they are going to look internally to see who may fit that. So for just getting started, I would say focus on finding your subject matter expertise, and then network. So HIMSS is a huge one. We had a plug in the chat from James. So get involved with HIMSS. Find someone that is already in the professional realm. Be their plus one. Go with them to HIMSS. Network. I hate networking. I'm very much a behind the computer kind of person. If my phone rings, I'll throw it across the room. Please text me. But I mean, networking is incredibly important to get your face out there, and really just to share knowledge.
Fantastic. I love that. Now you've worked across several organizations. What would you say are some key differences to how large organizations versus smaller organizations approach healthcare IT?
Smaller organizations are much easier to work in, but they come with their own set of problems. Larger organizations will tend to have a lot of processes, and processes make things clunky. So everything has to go through this approval and that approval and this governance structure. And, projects are only approved once a year because they have to, have a whole fiscal year to have the budget. Smaller organizations, you can typically avoid a lot of that over-structured you know issue of something that really should take 3 months can really take 3 months. We're at a larger organization, it's probably going to take 12 months. But at smaller organizations, you're going to run into budget constraints. And then my personal pet peeve is, well, we've always done it this way. So you tend to run into a lot of people who have been with an organization for a long time and are not real excited about changing things, even though their current systems aren't working for them. You know, they say, this is what we want to change. This is, this is why it's not working for us. And you give them a solution and they're like, yeah, but we've never done it that way. So smaller organizations are just different in that way.
Love that insight. I can definitely echo that. So I'll get one final question here. Then I want to leave some time for anybody else to ask you some questions before we do the final launch of the scholarship. But what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned as you've taken on leadership roles in the industry?
Great question. Um, Number one is people first. I know as you get into your career, you're going to work for organizations where you really just feel like another cog in a machine, another number. Um, the biggest feedback that we get on leadership surveys across all organizations that I've worked from is that we just feel like there's a disconnect that leadership just doesn't understand. What makes me successful as a leader today, and my team would agree. We talk about this regularly. Is it's people first. So always listen first. Um, don't assume that you know the answer. That is another one that is really big. So I empower my team anytime they bring me a problem. I ask them to 1-3-1 it. So bring me a problem, bring me 3 solutions, and then you tell me which one you think is best. We work through this as a team because if you bring me a problem and I solve it, a lot of times if I solve your problem, you say, yeah, but this is still happening. Whereas if you bring me a problem and we solve it together, we can get the solution right the first time. So my leadership lessons really are listen first, invest in your team, and involve your team. So as you're building all of that, you're going to build trust. People don't quit jobs, they quit managers. So just make sure that you build a good team around you and that they feel valued. And honestly, it'll make day to day much easier for everyone.
Absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Brandy, and thank you for your insights here. Now I want to open it up for an opportunity for anybody here that if they have any specific questions for Brandy, now would be your opportunity to ask.
That was great nuggets of just great information, Brandy. That was wonderful. Thank you. I
Absolutely.
really enjoyed it.
And I
Great
will drop
choice,
in this
Drew.
chat. I'll drop in this chat Brandy's LinkedIn page as well. If anyone would like to connect with her, you can connect with her there. And Brandy loves to be able to help out. I know she's helped out with some of the students at Ball State. So this is something she's very passionate about, and she is an absolutely great resource. So thank you so much, Brandy, once again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, now we'll move on to the next segment. Brighthour, the exciting announcement of the inaugural scholarship. So I'll turn it over to Seppi now. And Seppi, please go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Brandy. I really appreciate both of you. As demonstrated by what we just heard, our mission, simply put, is people first. We care about our community, about our ecosystem, about our industry, and our purpose here is to just stack on another opportunity for knowledge sharing, for mentorship, for scholarships. We are surrounded and blessed with our partnership with HIMSS, and there's other great community organizations out there as well. So we are not trying to create a membership or a type of organization like that. We want to continue to partner with them and share again ways to mentor and support each other. And some of that will come in the form of money, scholarships, and then it will also come in the form of mentorship. So that is really the focus of our organization, of our foundation. That's simply put, but so to read our mission, it's to empower our next generation of healthcare and healthcare IT professionals by providing scholarships, mentorships, resources to foster education, innovation, and leadership. And we want to do that by aspiring healthcare and healthcare IT leaders to thrive and to transform our industry through access to education and opportunities that inspire excellence and equity. Next slide, please. Um, so you will see a QR code at the top as well. And if you have not already joined our LinkedIn page and group, we got two different QR codes. Please join us so you will be in the communication. And we're hoping to achieve what I just shared with our mission and vision is by making an impact through our scholarship opportunities. I think my motto for this year has been small but mighty. We are a strong, small group of individuals that we are working hard to offer these opportunities and continue to grow. We want to build the workforce, address the growing demands of our professionals in our industry, and champion opportunities for any group that needs it to continue to thrive and grow. Next slide.
I'm sorry, I'm having a little difficulty here. Give me 1 second.
You know we can't have a session without having some kind of technical challenge. We're in IT after all.
We were going so smooth too.
I know.
1 moment. That's the wrong slide. There we go.
So we are so proud with the partnership of some of our community partners that we will highlight in just 1 second to be launching our foundation inaugural scholarship today. We are very proud to be able to offer 3 at the Rising Star level, which will be a check for $250 each. With that, we are bundling up mentorship opportunities with some of these wonderful seasoned professionals on our board and some in our community. And also one at the $500 level with 2 30-minute mentoring opportunities or sessions with either individuals from our board or in our community. And the $500 level, we are very proudly naming it after our very own Jeff Brown, the Jeff Brown Legacy Scholarship. As anyone in our Georgia ecosystem knows that name, he has been an individual very involved, committed to our ecosystem and to the growth of our industry. And we want to honor him as he is rounding out his career and retiring early October of this year. Right after this call, I will share this slide deck and this QR code with our scholarship link so that you can share this with anyone in your network so that we can open up our scholarship application. And with it, we will also share when it will close so that we have that timeline. But again, we are very proud to be able to open up our inaugural scholarship packages because of, if you can go to the next slide, please, because of the support of not just our amazing board members and professionals that have brought everything together, but also to the sponsorship and kindness of Rubric, Intellect Resources, Seamless Point of Care, and Pure Storage. I very I'm speechless with the amount of people that are on this call. Every single person is a friend. Their compassion and just support has truly been just amazing. So I truly appreciate everyone for making this happen. But yeah, it couldn't have been done if all these people didn't come together and giving up their time, their support, their love, and their just generosity of time to making all of this happen. So I truly appreciate everyone. And
One thing I
last
would like to
slide.
touch on too, Seppi,
Yeah.
that's very unique about this scholarship opportunity is this mentorship opportunity. I think that's an incredible thing that Brighthour is offering that you won't see from many other scholarships that are offered. And I think it's an incredible way to get connected with industry experts and leaders to really help grow and accelerate your career. So I think that's an incredible offering there. And I think that's just great. So really encourage students to sign up because this is something that could really help accelerate your healthcare career.
Absolutely. Thank you for highlighting that. And our last slide is actually the QR code for the application itself. So we will share that on social media, on LinkedIn. If you see it, please reshare it yourself so we can continue to expand that reach. And as mentioned, we will share this slide deck out to you all, and you will continue to see snippets of some of the great nuggets of information that Brandy shared throughout as well. And it was a great start and launch to everything. Thank you to Drew and Brandy for sharing their knowledge, their perspective. And like I said at the beginning, we're small but mighty, and I think, just like everyone else on this call, very passionate about our industry, what we do, and we're in it to be supportive for each other and help each other out. And after all, patient care, no matter what the technology might be or where we are with technology or innovation, it's a people-centered industry, and we can't ever lose sight of that. So
Absolutely. And thank you everyone for joining the inaugural webinar. This is something that we hope to repeat quarterly. So we appreciate any feedback as well. So if there's anything you would like to hear about in our next webinar, please feel free to share in an email to me or Seppi or anybody else if there's specific topics that you would like to be covered. That way we can cover them in our next webinar and hopefully invite a speaker who can speak more to those topics that you want to hear about.
thank you, everybody. We truly appreciate your time and your commitment. And Drew, thank you for everything you've done for the foundation as well. And thank you, everybody.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Have a great
everyone.
afternoon, everybody.
Have a great
Have a
afternoon.
wonderful
Thank
day.
you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.